Hey there, this is Ben from patternprofits.net bringing you the weekly watch list. Again, starting with IWO. Late last week, we did get a little bit of a shakeout below anchored VWAP. This goes back to the September lows. We got a shakeout there last week, but by the end of the week, able to reclaim and close above anchored VWAP as well as the descending trend line. We now have anchored VWAP from off of the high above, as well as moving average clouds all on the decline. So still plenty of work to do here on the IWO, our proxy for small cap growth. This is where most of my ideas come from, which is why we keep an eye on that. We also keep an eye on the major averages, QQQ and the SPY. Looking at the Qs here, again, we talk about this often, the close at the end of the day and the close at the end of the week. Much more important than the action in between. Again, a shakeout here Wednesday and Thursday below anchored VWAP from off the low here, and then able to reclaim that level on Friday. Anchored VWAP from off of the high still above. This area, volume by price, did act as support. And we did see the bounce. Just have to see how it responds early next week. 10 MA cloud, 20 MA cloud above, as well as that anchored VWAP right there sitting at the 50.65. So we'll see how the action plays out early next week. As far as the SPY, different look here for sure. Anchored VWAP off of the gap back here, able to reclaim that late last week, back above 1020 cloud as well. Closed right on that descending trend line, ascending trend line that we were using to kind of judge our daily cycle. Came below that last week shakeout, but then right back to it again. Same thing here. See how it acts early next week. Getting right into the watch list, probably my favorite idea into next week. FNKO, kind of a flag pattern here up high, consolidating 2550, the level to watch here. Inside day on Friday gives you a good area to work with here as far as trying to come in early before that pivot. The safest play is probably when this breaks out into new highs above that 2550 level. But if it does come out and you wanted to take a chance, that's what I did late Friday. I actually took a small position early, hoping to have an opportunity to add on a breakout. But that's why we watch these inside days. If you look, anchored VWAP from off of the big breakout here, the little flag pattern, that was reclaimed on Friday, and now we're just looking for continuation. Weekly and monthly also look good there. Cowen, COWN. We talked about the last couple weeks, Goldman, MS, JP Morgan. This is just the latest one to make the list. Cowen, 42.15, the high of the handle here, 43.17, the prior high. Look for that to make the breakout above 42.15 and then challenge those prior highs. We also have, this is also a prior watch list name, United Natural Foods, UNFI, did come through, break the descending trend line, back above anchored VWAP from off of the gap up here. You see the big volume candles going back into January and February. We're looking for that to come back in. 38.25, the first pivot there to watch to see if it clears that level. And then 41.35, the high above UNFI, the ticker there. I also have Ruby. You will not catch me trading this one. But for my biotech friends, I always try to share these when I see them. Flag pattern up high and tight. Anchored VWAP from off of the low here acting as support. And then you have anchored VWAP from off of the gap and the big volume day here just above. So you're kind of in the alpha trends VWAP pinch, like Brian Shannon has taught us. You have the volume shelf just below. Also have the moving average clouds 10, 20, and 50 right there, power of 3 type setup. So look for this to break the descending trend line, push above anchored VWAP. That would be the signal there to come in on the long side. I also have MPC, which had a big day volume-wise on Friday on some news, but that pivot 59.93 there, dancing right around that pivot. Most of the oil and gas energy names have been very strong, starting to make some progress to the upside. This one's still right at pivot, so easy to manage your risk at that level. I also have CF Industries, big breakout back here. Oops, I thought I had anchored VWAP from there. It is. Big breakout, got a very nice move, made some progress, and now flagging up high. So we like to see these little flags form and look for continuation as they come out. You have volume by shelf point of control just above, inside day to work with, which we look for. Volume declining a bit, good volume back here as well as on the breakout. So looking for upside continuation there. If it comes out of that inside day to the upside, breaks out of the flag. If this rolls over, no entry, no harm, no foul. Only looking to take an entry if it does come out to the upside. Next, Crocs. We're going into some of the peg list names. I didn't really have much as far from the focus list for this week, but as far as peg names, I do have a couple. You're looking at Crocs here, came back on light volume, big volume back here on the power earnings gap. That's what we look for. Anchored VWAP, holding as support, had a little shakeout, dip below, and then reclaimed. You have the volume shelf point of control right there, looking for upside continuation there. And also BGFV. Similar setup here, little more of a flag formation here, but same type play. Big volume on the power earnings gap, made great progress, has pulled back gently, volume coming in. That's what we like to see. Volume shelf point of control just above, same, inside day. That's the play as it comes out to the upside, and volume weighted average price from the power earnings gap holding as support. Outside of that, regional banks. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's so many and they all look similar. FFIN, you're going to see this pattern, this cup and handle pattern on so many of them. Like I said, I won't go through all of them. I'll just show you a few of them. They all look basically the same. KRNY. ZION, Zions, ABCB. So probably worth keeping an eye on these at the beginning of the week. They all have pretty good volume too, showing up on all of my scans. A lot of money flow into those regional banks, probably a sign of higher rates to come down the road. There's a bunch of them: RBNC, EWBC, SNV, TFC. I mean, you name it in that group, they all look similar with this cup and handle pattern. They're pretty boring as far as I'm concerned. They tend to move relatively slow. However, one option there is DPST, which has a similar setup with some leverage. It is a 3-time probably. Save this idea for the most experienced because this one will move rather quickly. But looking for the breakout there, 287.64. If all of those regional banks do start moving to the upside, coming out on volume, and you didn't have a favorite that you could pick and wanted to play, this is another option with 3 times leverage. So please keep that in mind. DPST, the ticker symbol. That's all I have for next week. I hope you guys have a great trading week, and I will see you over on FinTwit.